want to get out of here.
Our rebellion is all that remains to push back the Empire. You think you might be able to help us?
When was the last time you were in contact with your father?
What is this? It appears he is critical to the development of a super weapon.
If my father built this thing, we need to find him.
All right. How many do I need?
They are requesting a call sign.
It's, Rogue. Rogue One.
The power that we are dealing with here is immeasurable.
If the Empire has this kind of power, what chance do we have?
Hockey, religions, and ancient weapons are no match for a good podcast at your side. You're listening to Hot Wampa.
Well then, we've had possibly a final trailer, Rogue One.
Yeah, and it says the final trailer. Yeah, there'll probably be a couple of TV spots, but I mean, it was probably well notified. This one, wasn't it? We had a notification sort of Wednesday night, I think, something like that. We got the the new poster on Thursday, didn't we? And then the trailer popped up. So this is another Hot Wampa trailer special. Probably be our last one before the release of Rogue One, so we got quite a lot of new information in this one, haven't we?
Yeah, it's quite a long trailer. This first popped up on Star Wars' own official YouTube channel on the 13th of October.
Yeah.
Which I guess is where everyone would watch it from. I mean, I know they normally time these things to coincide with sporting events, don't they, and social holidays. But nobody watches it during a football match or something. Everyone watches it on YouTube or something like that. Yeah. So it came up there 13th of October. Straight onto our social media on exactly the same day. Well viewed. Yeah. Some sources are calling it trailer 3.
Yeah, I believe it is trailer 3, isn't it? In effect.
Oh, it's officially trailer 2.
Yeah.
From Disney Lucasfilm, but some sources are calling it trailer 3. Whether that's because there's been a reworking of the initial trailer a time or two, I don't know.
Yeah, I think. Well, didn't we get like the first one, which was just like a kind of a few flashes, and that was like more like a preview than an actual long trailer, right?
Yeah.
And and then the second one sort of was the one we could go into detail. And I think, if this is the final one, I'm sure in a couple of days there will be an international one. There always is, isn't there? In Japan or somewhere.
Japanese subtitles.
Yeah, that's right.
And there'll be a few extra clips. Probably. Makes me wonder what to call this special then. Trailer 2, trailer 3, final trailer.
Rogue One trailer.
Yeah, whatever. We'll come up with a name for it anyway. Bit of a disappointment, really. I thought it'd be more than just you and me on this.
Yeah,
we put the call out, didn't we?
I saw that. Yeah, and we were looking for extra people to sort of contribute to this, and maybe not everyone's seen it yet. Maybe when you bring it out at that time of the week or that time of day,
possibly. I don't know whether it's a strategy, whether it's social media. Is our stuff getting buried under all these stupid OMG posts that are out there or something like that? I don't know.
Yeah, what she did next, you'll never believe, and all those.
Oh, I bet I would. I don't know. Is this stuff not reaching people? I don't know. Should we have a mailing list or something like that, perhaps?
Well, our email, for example, is freely available. All our contact details are there on the Hot Wampa, on YouTube, on Facebook, on Twitter, so we are accessible.
Yeah, I mean, all we really needed was listeners with Skype and a headset.
That's right.
And it doesn't even need to be a decent headset, just a half-decent mic. A set of headphones, you could probably do it from your iPhone.
Well,
or something like that.
Perhaps it's one we could get up and running. I mean, we did that with Amber Roo, didn't we? We had a sort of ongoing interview with her. So, yeah,
it's good quality. It just records audio from all sides. The only difference is, you need to make sure you're wearing your headphones, because obviously we don't want to record ourselves back playing on someone else's speakers.
Yeah,
which is why you do it with headsets. But why that's not reaching people, I don't know. I mean.
Well, I can see the next time we're going to get a lot of feedback is going to be after the Rogue One. Last time with The Force Awakens, I think we got a lot of audio reviews and stuff in, didn't we? A lot of people were interested and wanted to give us their opinion. But perhaps with a trailer, it's not sort of prominent enough. I don't know.
I mean, yeah, but I'd like to open it up and actually have people in on the discussion when we record it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Have people that are more interactive. We've done enough of these specials. I'm sure there's people that must listen out crying out, oh, I missed that, or no, you've missed this, or no, you're wrong about that.
Yeah, those idiots have got it wrong again.
Yeah. It's not a mash-up, it's dirge.
Yeah, that's it.
That?
Yeah.
From an obscure novel written 20 years ago with a side character.
Exactly.
So, yeah, I mean, the email and the interaction isn't just there to correct us. I mean, that's the thing. I don't know whether we can try it. Perhaps we should try and do something like that after the film.
Yeah.
I mean, that gives people a couple of months' notice now, doesn't it?
That's right, yeah.
If we do a special after the film is released, we'll do it via Skype, and as many people that want to be as part of that discussion, we'll just have them in and record that and put that out as a podcast.
That sounds good. What's the maximum you could have, though?
I don't know. I guess it's as many people as you can audio conference and Skype at one time.
Yeah.
I guess you just need protocol, make sure people don't talk over the top of each other and stuff like that. But it's pretty good quality for when we did it before, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Yeah. I guess half a dozen's probably enough, isn't it?
Yeah, we don't want too many, do we?
No, but let's try to get some people in there, especially like Stephen Waterhouse, Dean Shepherd, Amber Rue, people like that. That'd be good to get them more regular listeners. Get Yarrick in with his deep voice. Or anyone else. It's not just our regulars, and we're always open to new listeners who want to contribute. So
yeah, like I said, I don't know what it is, whether it's not reaching people or whether podcasting itself is still such a small phenomenon and people don't, just click and take and listen, which is fine.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that would be my mark of success is downloads, and we do well on that.
Yeah,
but it would be nice to bring these people into the show.
It would, yeah. And we've always said it's an organic show, isn't it? That people are welcome to join in and contribute.
Yeah.
I really liked looking back at the Libsyn page. First of all, the great artwork that you've done over the last year or so.
Yeah.
But the Kenny Baker, the Time Bandits episode, it's been shared I think nearly 500 times, and the numbers on that are extraordinary.
We get some pretty good distribution in terms of the programme itself.
Yeah.
But getting people involved with the programme, which we'd like to do, it isn't a closed shop, is it?
No, not at all. But I think some people are a bit afraid of having enough information or the right information.
Why?
Because
we come at every subject from different levels of knowledge. That's what makes the discussion.
I know, Dave, but I think sometimes people are afraid because they don't want to get it wrong, or they don't want to...
Why? That's the social media is there for that to get corrected on.
True, yeah.
Yeah, like, that's not a mash-up, that's dirge.
Yeah.
Our knowledge isn't encyclopedic, it's far from, and we do sometimes make mistakes in good faith.
That's right.
But, if people want to get involved and correct us on that, then, get yourself in there. So we'll give notice of that now. We'll try and do a more interactive show post Rogue One, and get as many people in a discussion as we can. I can see what it is now. People are listening. I'll think about it, and it will come to a week beforehand, and we'll be mailing people trying to chase them up. Here, do you want to see it on a podcast?
Yeah, and they're away and on holiday somewhere or something.
Yeah.
But I mean, for us, this came out, so this was quite a quickly constructed show, and it just shows you how easy it is just to pick up your pen or write some notes, and bring them forward and contribute, because Dave and I mean, we decided to do this when Friday morning, was it? You sort of...
Yeah, Friday morning.
Friday morning, we'll do it, we'll record one day, and it's, Saturday morning now, and here we are, so...
I mean, I haven't really got trailer notes, other than, like I said, release dates for the trailer and etc., that sort of thing. I haven't got the technical trailer notes. All I've got is printouts of, cast and characters and stuff like that, so I can refer to them during the discussion.
Yeah.
And really, your knowledge doesn't need to be any greater than that, does it?
No. And what I always do is cross-reference many different sources, and in that respect, you kind of get it. It's still speculation. What we're going to talk about today isn't 100%.
No.
But, if enough people say it and believe it, then you kind of think, well, maybe that's true. So, yeah, we've got our own knowledge and other sources as well. So, yeah.
Yeah, we try and get the technical sources right, but otherwise it's discussion and debate.
Yep.
It's not necessarily going to be right. So let's have a good look at it. Should we do the usual formula of just playing through?
Yep, let's do it.
Okay, so let's hit play for any listeners that have got it booted up at home. It's on 000. Hit play. Right, first scene, skyline, rings in the skyline.
Yep.
With a ship flying through.
Krennic shuttle, perhaps?
Director Krennic shuttle, yeah, with his black stormtroopers, black armoured stormtroopers.
I understand.
So we've got Jyn Erso and her father.
Yeah, let's pause that and catch up there.
So it's good to see Mads Mikkelsen a lot in this trailer, isn't he?
Yeah, I mean, we haven't really seen much of him so far, have we? We've been talked about that he plays Jyn Erso's father, obviously.
Galen Erso, yeah.
Yeah, a technical specialist that's associated with the construction of the Death Star. This guy's important to the Empire, they've taken him. And we see, I guess, which is a very young Jyn Erso.
That's right. With her father saying that, he'll come back for her, or, take care of yourself kind of thing. He's being taken away by Krennic, isn't he?
Mm-hmm.
Now, what I noticed in the trailer is it's very good how they've changed the look of Mads Mikkelsen and Ben Mendelsohn.
Yeah.
They look younger in this scene, and they they have aged later on when we see them. So there is a difference there. And that's something that's really come along in modern film, I think. Recently I saw, the Captain America film, Civil War, and, they really aged Tony Stark well. He's a young man, old footage probably, and then the older actor today. And they're really doing that well now. Before it was like prosthetics and stuff, wasn't it? They could always make someone look older, but younger was a problem. But now, they've really got that.
Yeah, I mean, it is nice to have that sort of flashback. See, obviously there's backstory to the character of Jyn Erso.
Yep.
When we have to assume that time is passing in this film. Are we looking at the Force Awakens formula perhaps a little bit too much, where we saw Rey as a little girl being separated from whoever it was, guardians or parents? Now we're seeing Jyn Erso as a little girl, her father addressing her, Galen Erso. Krennic comes in, they face off facing each other. We assume that Krennic takes her father, and she's in the same boat as Rey. She's a bit of a scavenger or a renegade out there on the fringe, surviving without her parents.
I certainly think Jyn Erso is more feisty. She comes across as more determined and a bit boisterous. I mean, and perhaps that is because her father left her. But it's interesting when you see the scene with knee-high grass. Those troopers, death troopers come in.
Yeah.
They're Imperial Intelligence Department, apparently.
Right, so these guys are like the SS Shock.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they've come in to get him. Now, why is he working on like a moisture farm or something like that? Because Galen Erso is obviously some kind of genius engineer, or, someone who's well known for his constructions. So why has he just decided to retire to a farm somewhere with his daughter? Did he have problems in the past with the Empire and decide to, flee?
That's a good point. Is he hiding in plain sight? I mean, this is at a time early in the Empire's history, I'm assuming, when he comes and takes him, because the shuttle design and everything is different to what we know from the original trilogy. Although the basic uniform for Krennic is an Imperial officer's uniform, he's got slightly different troopers.
Yeah.
Obviously, we come forward adequate enough years for Jyn Erso to stop being a little girl and to be a young woman. Yeah, is he in hiding? Is it a bit like the Second World War, when, despite the fact the Nazis had appalling attitudes towards different racial or cultural subgroups, they would still recruit scientists and technical specialists from those subgroups because they had a skill or knowledge set that they required for their programs?
Yeah, exactly.
Is the Empire doing the same? Is this guy like from a persecuted cast, but he's a genius?
Yeah, it seems like that, does it? He's probably refused. No, I'm not helping you.
Yeah.
I'm not helping you. And then it's got
Or
to
maybe
the point.
even simple as that, a moral point.
Yeah.
Yes, I could help you build this weapon, but, quoting the Hindu Bible, I'm not going to become the destroyers of worlds.
Yeah.
I'm not going to work on the A-bomb or whatever it is on your behalf.
Yeah, that sounds right, yeah.
Yeah.
So, but, I mean, leaving his daughter behind, what does he expect her to, apart from survive? There must be someone else or other characters who, like Uncle Owen or someone like that, someone to take care of her. Do you think, you're not going to leave a young girl like that on her own?
Yeah, they're Luke and Leia's sort of orphanage sorted out much more organised, didn't they?
They did, yeah.
Other than these little girls, the likes of Rey and Jyn, that seem to be just abandoned to their own devices, pretty much. But yeah, I mean, and we see now flash forward, so he's in what looks like some sort of a cell having these memories, we assume. Well, the way the trailer is cut, that's what we're supposed to assume, I think.
Yeah, she's certainly got herself in trouble, hasn't she? So. Yeah,
a bit of a pout on her there. So let's hit play again. Go on there, yeah. Stormtrooper walking past. Lucasfilm logo. City scene.
Yep. This is Jeddah, isn't it? The planet?
I think so.
Yeah. So the breakout, we've just seen Diego Luna.
Is that Diego Luna?
Yeah, so that's Captain Cassian Andor.
I've listened to that 2 or 3 times. I mean, the clip is quite quick to take too much detail from it. It sounds Scottish.
Scottish.
I thought that was the same guy that was Kanji Club in The Force Awakens.
Oh, yeah.
Like the Kanji Club for 1 minute. It's not, obviously, it's an ethnic accent. It's like you say, but he's Spanish, wasn't it?
Yeah, he is Spanish, isn't he?
Yeah.
Well, this in the next shot we can see after the prison break, we got like a desert planet. Assumingly it's Jeddah again.
Yeah.
With a small craft, which I understand is the U-wing that's flying, but the rock formation is certainly a Jedi in the actual dust, and it does bear a resemblance to Obi-Wan Kenobi if you look at the face and the beard. So, and I didn't see that the first or second time.
I'm not with you.
Yeah, so this is his head, this is the hands holding the lightsaber.
Oh, of course.
Yeah, so...
Sneaky, yeah.
And if you look at the beard and the face, it kind of looks like a Ewan McGregor sort of...
Okay, let's just give a timestamp for our listeners. 041 seconds.
Yeah.
Okay, and freeze the screen best you can so you're sort of looking with a downwards perspective from above at a desert landscape. You've got sands to your right of various tones and rock formations to your left. Look at it, possibly even tilt it slightly, and you'll see what Mark's talking about.
Yeah, because the first couple of times I watched it, I was focusing on the small ship and just looked at it as a rock formation, and then I realised, wow, that is, we're talking about this being like the Mecca planet for Jedi, and perhaps this just symbolises the destruction that's been going on, with the Empire looking for the Kyber crystals, we believe.
Yeah, I didn't even see that.
Yeah.
I just thought it was a natural rock formation. Well, I can't work out have they put that in as an Easter egg as a natural rock formation that resembles, or is this a bit like the Mount Rushmore monument and the Empire have knocked it over?
I think so. I think there's a lot of destruction on this planet. They wanted to wipe the Jedi clean and the whole religion, of the Jedi probably. We know that the Kyber crystals are important for the Death Star's weapon, so perhaps they're slowly just decimating the planet by mining and removing everything.
A major industrial operation, and these things perhaps a focusing lens or something like that, or some part of the targeting system, something like that, perhaps.
Because with the beam, there's like 4 or 5 that go together and then
converge.
Yeah. So perhaps that's why they need that much material for it.
Yeah, well done on that. I mean, I must have watched this trailer 5 or 6 times and I never spotted that.
No, as I said, the emphasis is always on the small ship.
Yeah.
So you don't really look at the landscape, really.
Yeah, we always look for the small details, and like you say, that could quite easily be hidden away as a natural formation. Of course, our listeners are sitting there saying, "Oh, I saw that the first time."
Yeah, it was obvious.
Didn't you see that? I'm thinking, though, this looks a bit like Korriban, or as they renamed it, Moraban, in the old EU. Which was a similar world to Jeddah, but the equivalent world to the Sith.
Okay.
Because that was like a sparse, arid, desert, rocky landscape, and they had all these statues, idols, whatever you want to call them, on this planet, carved out of stone of various historical Sith Lords. So I'm wondering if someone's taken that and turned it on its head for the Jedi.
Yeah, so they have like opposing sort of systems, yeah.
Yeah, the same sort of thing, showing that these are two sort of sub-faiths of one larger group, just that they've gone in completely different doctrine directions or something. I don't know. Perhaps I'm reading too much into it now. I must be reading too much into it to miss the blatant on the screen. So let's go forward from that.
All that remains to push back the Empire.
Jin looking out a window, rebel hangar, Yavin 4 perhaps?
Yavin 4,
When
yeah.
was the last time you were in contact with your father?
What is this?
Briefing room on Mothma.
It appears he is critical to the development of a super weapon.
So we've got more of Mads Mikkelsen and Ben Mendelsohn looking at each other.
Father built this thing.
Death Star on Horizon.
Alright, how many do I need?
Death Star on Horizon is over Scarif, I believe,
It's
which is the beach planet where they constructed the Death Star.
Rogue One.
There we go. We just where the
Pulsar.
film got the name from.
Yeah.
This is sort of Black Hawk Down type territory, and it's coming from a call sign, isn't it? A radio signal.
So that's Riz Ahmed, who plays Bodhi Rook, who's just asked what's our call sign, and Alan Tudyk's K2SO has sort of repeated what the call sign is, so they can, I don't know, sort of get themselves onto the Death Star, I guess.
Couldn't they do it the way Han and Chewie did? You know, just fly casual.
Yeah, that's it. You know, casual.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, obviously that's the basis for the film's name, Rogue One. It's the call sign that goes in. Yeah, I mean, the interesting group of characters there. I'm looking forward to Baze, which is the Oriental gentleman, not the blind spiritual martial artist.
Yeah.
But the guy with the long hair and big guns. That guy.
Baze Malbus. Yeah. Yeah. He said, "How many do we need?" back there, didn't he? So.
Yeah. I think he's supposed to be a bit of a head case, to be honest.
Yeah.
Yang Wen as Baze Malbus. The notes I have on him are a freelance assassin who, with the harsh reality of his imperial-occupied homeworld, has hardened into a pragmatic soldier and a crack shot with his heavy repeater cannon. Baze has a bravado that provides a marked contrast to the spiritual centeredness of his best friend and moral compass, Shira. And Shira, obviously, is the blind spiritual martial artist with a connection to the Force. So Baze, I think, is going to be like him and Shira are going to be like two opposites that are good mates.
Yeah.
And one of them probably complements the other the whole time. But I like the idea that the spiritual warrior of Shira is the moral compass to Baze. Because perhaps without him, you get the impression that Baze could go off like a bit of a lunatic around the galaxy.
You could see that. You remember in the last trailer when you saw him firing away, you destroyed my... What did he say? You destroyed my home.
Yeah.
And in the last trailer. So yeah, we can see that in this one. He is popping off a few shots.
Yeah.
With let's see. Yeah, Donnie Yen's character. He's a spiritual monk or something like that. He's been described of. I've got it here in a moment. I'll write it down. I wrote it down.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's some kind of a monk, they called him. So,
yeah.
Yeah, warrior monk. That's what he's under, the head title.
I've got here that he lacks Force abilities. I don't know if that's true or not.
No, I believe it's true, but he certainly knows about the Force.
Donnie Yen is Shira Imwe, I think that's how it's pronounced. A deeply spiritual warrior, Shira believes all living things are connected through the Force. His sightless eyes do not prevent him from being a highly skilled fighter. Though he lacks Force abilities, Imwe has rigorously honed his body through intense physical and mental discipline. So, interesting character. Do you think he's from Jeddah? Do you think him and Yang Baze Malbus are both natives of that world? They're all mates anyway.
Yeah, they could well be. I mean, obviously, a lot of worlds have been destroyed by now. You know, the sort of Empire are sort of cranking through the gears, and so perhaps, yeah.
And even though he's not skilled in the Force, obviously, he's sightless, and that isn't a restriction on his fighting abilities. And he was a trained martial artist.
There's a good scene. I don't know if we've seen it yet, but there's a downed X-wing fighter.
Yes.
And there's Baze there, and Chirrut, and Chirrut has taken out 4 or 5 stormtroopers, and he's just got a stance like, I've done my work.
Yeah.
And one goes to take a pot shot at him. It hasn't been downed, and Baze takes him out with a gun. Like, so it's like to say, yeah, you're good, but I can sort of, I've still got your back, kind of thing.
Yeah.
So yeah,
they sort of complement each other.
Yeah, they do.
Perhaps in that respect, one of them makes up for the other one's weaknesses, but the two of them together are obviously quite a handful. So they're going to be. I think they're the two characters, probably more, like I said, Baze Malbus, because I have a feeling with him he could literally be a bit of a loose cannon.
Yeah.
That I'm personally looking forward to seeing those two, more so probably than the rest of the cast, and yet they're probably less accomplished than the rest of the cast.
Yeah,
strange.
They're a couple of heroes of like Asian cinema, aren't they? Action films through the 90s and stuff,
Yeah.
So they're well known internationally. So, but it is a good opportunity for the rest of the world to see them.
Yeah. See what they can do and what they're all about. So let's plan. We've got this graphic display on the screen here with like the red signature in the background. Not sure what that is.
Similar to A New Hope, really, where you see the Death Star sort of going around the orbit sort of thing.
Yeah, I'm wondering if this line here represents some sort of construction orbital ring around the world. Like a halo, like a ring system like you'd get on Saturn, but obviously it's artificial and it's further north or south depending on which orientation you're in. on the hemisphere.
We haven't seen a sign saying so many days since the last incident.
No.
So it's quite a good working place with no accidents.
Plus, in that opening scene, when you see the sky, you can see like a ring system going through the sky, like a contrail. And later on, around the Death Star construction, some of the space scenes, we see something similar as well. So I'm wondering if this is like an orbital construction ring around the planet.
Could well be.
Is, part of the construction of the Death Star, like a service, like scaffolding, basically in space. Who knows?
Power that we are dealing with here.
Ben Mendelsohn talking to Darth Vader there. That was the back of Mon Mothma, apparently.
What chance do we have?
Various rebel leaders, I guess.
Bit of a fight out in Jeddah.
Hope. Rebellions are built on hope.
Forrest Whitaker there.
Yeah.
Prosthetic legs of sorts?
Yep, Saw Gerrera. Yeah. So he's pretty much cyborg, isn't he? Sort of 50-50, really.
Did he get chopped in half at some point in the past?
He must have, but he has cropped up in previous Star Wars literature and TV, hasn't he? So
a veteran of the Clone Wars, the character previously appeared in the animated series Star Wars: The Clone Wars and was mentioned in the Star Wars Rebel episode The Honourable Ones and the novel Star Wars Bloodline. So he's probably he's got battlefield injuries or something there, hasn't he?
I think, as we've spoken before about him, he wasn't intended to be in this film, but the more the character was sort of, moulded and Forrest Whitaker was cast, they said, it's going to be him, So I think what Gareth Edwards has done, he is going back to the old, old Star Wars and looking back and plucking bits and pieces out, and there are lots of Easter eggs coming up, At 31 seconds, I don't know if you saw this, Dave, but there's a RA7 protocol droid on the left, which is the silver one.
In the street scene.
Yeah. And the last time we saw it was a 3B6 RA7. Yeah, aboard the Jawa Sandcrawler with C-3PO and R2-D2.
Yeah, so I clocked that.
Yeah, so it's nice that he's going back and sort of borrowing bits and pieces from the past.
Yeah, this December is coming up on the screen. Fonts are at 1 minute 37.
Yeah, this is the Scarif, isn't it? This the desert planet.
Well, we just see. I hate touchscreens. They never respond straight away. We're just seeing Izzet, Cassian Anders, Jin, and the K2SO droid.
Yeah, and Diego Luna's Captain Cassian Andor. Yeah, and they're in disguise, aren't they? Rebels in disguise. They look like they've infiltrated the Death Star.
In uniforms, yeah. Which obviously is where K2SO comes in pretty handy, I would have thought, if he's a former Imperial droid.
Yep. So, and then we go back to Jeddah. We see a bit of sort of fighting, don't we, with Donnie Yen's character.
Yeah, he's in his element there, I think, isn't he? Going around shooting and blowing things up.
A couple of sections before, Dave, there was like an alien creature with two tubes connected. Now I've got a bit more information about him. His name is Edrio Two Tubes is his name.
Okay.
He's a mercenary pilot who sides with Saw Gerrera, and this was revealed at the San Diego Comic Con. So, so he's a good guy, although he looks a bit menacing.
Yeah. Okay, so that's interesting. So they're bringing these new characters in. How much more? A lot of what we've seen seems very much a repetitive palette now. Perhaps that's because we've only had a few trailers and the images.
Well, in a way, I wrote a note. It feels different to the second trailer,
right?
Because I felt that this feels like a second trailer, if you know what I mean. Like the first one, you get 30 seconds. This one felt like a fuller trailer.
Yeah.
So and then I would have marketed it with the third trailer, just a shorter one. But this one feels a bit more fuller, and we do see different things. I mean, I think, but yeah, this fight on Jeddah, I don't know how long it goes on for, but a lot of this last part is borrowed from there, isn't it? Scarif, we saw the beach planet there. A lot of Second World War influence, I think, with the Pacific and stuff like that.
I was thinking that.
Yeah, running through the trees towards the beach or away from the beach. But striking imagery.
I like the way they've integrated the look of the rebel soldiers. They look very similar in their headsets and stuff to what they do in The Empire Strikes Back.
Yeah.
But it's still got a sort of Vietnam era, Second World War, sort of Pacific jungle island type look to the uniforms as well, hasn't it? Kind of like a mashup of the two. Which I suppose would be practical. I mean, they'd have a uniform made up out of militia clothes or whatever they could source, wouldn't they?
Yeah, anything really. So we've heard a bit of Jyn Erso's speech about rebels. We're rebels, and sort of trying to motivate the troops. You do see, like, she says one line. What is it? We have hope. Rebellions are built on hope. Mm-hmm. And I feel there's a lot more to this speech, but the next scene you just see the guys in the U-wing all like smiling and motivated.
Now, so I messaged you the other night and said lighter tones. Mm-hmm. Do you think that this trailer is supposed to reflect that?
I don't know about lighter tones, but it feels more optimistic. The last one definitely felt like, that was the end of their world.
Yeah.
I think this one you feel like, you can see the group together and ready to go and do battle. So I think it's a bit more the Dirty Dozen now. I think it's like you see the camaraderie between them. So.
Right. Okay. There you go.
Yeah.
10 men like 100. They said he's having that fight with the stormtroopers in the street, and Beige just comes in and helps him out there, doesn't he, with the old gun?
Yeah, I think that's a powerful line by Diego Luna, isn't it? We will make 10 men feel like 100, and it does feel like that. We've all been in that situation. I think, like, I don't know, playing football or something like that, when you've got one guy who's going to motivate you and sort of push you further and further. So.
Well, I've been in a situation where it's been down to 10 men, but that's normally because I've been sent off for misgivings on the pitch.
He probably wanted a cigarette on the sideline or
something like that. I had a scrap during the game or something. We've seen a lot of explosions here, and I guess these are flight scenes. This looks like, is this possibly on Jeddah, isn't it? Rock formations.
Yeah, and it looks like the rebels attacking. Alright, we're back on Scarif, and we've got...
Very quickly, we just had a picture of Chirrut firing what looks a bit like a laser crossbow, which again for a blind warrior could be a bit...
Yeah.
If you were with him on the battlefield, you'd be constantly ducking when he swung around with it, wouldn't you?
Well, we saw in The Force Awakens that they seem to be a bit more powerful in these modern films than they were in the classics. So.
Yeah, they've got some clout in him.
We've got Riz Ahmed, the Bodhi Rook. He's kind of like hiding behind an ammunition crate or something like that on Scarif. We know that the U-wing is kind of quite close with the... cargo hold down, so he's got to get onto the ship, but they look like they're pinned down, don't they?
Yeah, the U-wing has like a blast in that cargo hold, like the box underneath the U-wing. It opens up on both sides, and it's got like a blaster, machine gun type blaster on either side, which has got a manned like a door gunner. So it's almost being used like a Huey.
Yeah.
So it's not a fighter in a conventional sense that they're plugging it. Oh, it's a U-wing fighter. It's not as such. It is a utility vehicle.
Yeah.
Or a sort of troop transport. Think of it as the equivalent, like you say, a landing craft or a Huey from the Vietnam era or something along those lines.
Yep.
So that's kind of the thinking behind it. But like you say, we see Riz Ahmed here. He's hiding behind what looks like some crates or boxes or something. I don't know. I think he might be the guy who's possibly a turncoat or a traitor in this.
I've read that he was an Imperial fighter, like a pilot, and he was despondent with the Empire, and he decided to sort of join the band.
Yeah.
So maybe he's got a question in his conscience here. Should he help his friends or his newfound friends, or should he just make a run for it, kind of thing?
Yeah. Who knows? Interesting character.
And then we see him running. I think that is him running into the ship.
Didn't that look with the X-wings flying over it there? Did that? It wasn't the Death Star, obviously, because if it was in a stage of construction.
Yeah.
It was a metal structure with holes and cavities in it, still in space.
You're right.
And I'm wondering if this, like I said, is some sort of orbital construction.
I never thought of that, because it does look like a kind of like 2001 sort of that kind of
spinning wheel.
Yeah, it's sort of a circular ship. But if you look at the arms, they could well be connected to the Death Star and could be well used for construction. So I think that's a really good point there, Dave.
Like some sort of gantry system. Well, who knows?
Yeah.
I mean, that's sort of open to debate, and I guess we'll find out. It could be a million miles out on that.
Well, we got the X-wings attacking that sort of construction. There's an interesting thing that you might like, Dave, and you would know better than me. But in one of these scenes, there's a ship. I'm not sure if it's this one at the top, but it's a Hammerhead cruiser from Knights of the Old Republic.
Really?
Yeah, during the space battle. I don't know if it's this scene, but it's certainly one of the space scenes. I haven't got the time scale on my notes.
Really, I need a still image that I can zoom in on.
If you watch it a few times, we might even see it coming up. But there's
a ship that looks very much like the medical frigate. It's got sort of like a broader front and a broader tail on it, with a sort of thin spine connecting the two.
It might not be that one, but we'll see if we continue. Maybe we'll see it. But it's at the top of the screen during one of these climatic space scenes.
Rebels on you?
Save the rebellion! Save the dream!
No, I think it must have been integrated in one of the earlier scenes.
So we saw a good one of the AT-ATC at night there, didn't we? That was quite a good shot. Running through the jungles, being under attack. We've got Baze Malbus and Chirrut Imwe about to get squashed on Scarif by an AT-ATC, because there's the feet coming down through the forest and they're sort of fleeing through it. So that was quite good.
Yeah. Like I said, they're the characters I'm looking forward to seeing most. I think, you get Baze out with a gun. I think he's going to be a great character. Mm-hmm. And I think probably there's going to be a bit of humour and a camaraderie between the two of them. Like I said, they're mates, but they're opposites. So they're going to complement each other, and at times they're going to oppose each other. And I think that's going to come across in a bit of banter and, one of them chiding the other one and vice versa. So I'm quite looking forward to that partnership.
Yeah.
And seeing how that sort of works out.
I saw Felicity Jones on the One Show this week of all programs. She was on it with Tom Hanks and Ron Howard promoting Inferno, and they asked her a few questions, and she was.
Is that the Dan Brown?
That's right, adaptation, and she was a bit coy because obviously she's quite new to this, and you know what it's like with spoilers and stuff. But she really enjoyed it, and she was talking about like acting with nothing there, and kind of watching the digital effects grow around her and that, and yeah. So I mean, she's quite short as well. She's quite a small lady, isn't she? So
I was thinking that in that scene there when we saw her with Diego Luna and the K2SO droid.
Yeah.
Because Diego Luna's not that tall a man.
No.
I think he's around 5'8", 5'9",
yeah,
something like that. He's not, he's not a dwarf or something. Obviously, but he's not at the tallest of man, and yet when you see her next to him, she's quite small in scale again against him. Mm-hmm. So she can't be a very tall lady.
No, but I mean, Carrie Fisher wasn't, I guess we could say so.
Didn't matter in that bikini.
It didn't matter. Didn't matter. Jyn Erso has been on her own since the age of 15. That's what I've got in the notes. Now, in what we saw earlier, she's younger than 15.
That's younger.
Yeah. So what does she really know about her father? With the when they come in to get her, Mon Mothma and stuff like that, what do they really know?
Well, she must know something about her father. Mm-hmm. I'm wondering if he'd made some sort of arrangement for her upbringing prior to being taken, whether that's a case of going with one of his own siblings, like an auntie or an uncle, to her, or a family friend, or there is reference, I believe, to her mother.
Yeah, and her mother is in the cast. I've got a name down here somewhere.
Yeah, I'm looking for her now.
Valene Kane.
Yeah,
is Lyra Erso. Yeah,
that's it. I've got her as well.
Yeah.
So maybe she was raised by her mother as a single parent or something, and didn't have the moral compass of her father or something, or I don't know. Who knows?
Or tried to keep her at home on the planet. When she wanted to get away, like Luke, kind of thing.
Look into the horizon to the future.
Yeah.
Maybe she's got those memories of her father being taken, and that's the foundation of her first distrust and hatred of authority of the Empire.
Yeah, you might be right. There's an interesting line by Captain Cassian Andor, Diego Luna, saying they have no idea we're coming. And I think that's going to be a big mistake. It always is, isn't it? When you sort of say that.
It's a trap.
Yeah. I've got a bad feeling about this,
Yeah, someone's going to tip them off, aren't they?
Yeah. So there is that. I really like the imagery of the Death Star in orbit around the planet and things like that. That came across.
It's the scene when it's sort of a bit like the old Earthrise shot from the Apollo missions, where you've got the planet there, like the blues and the greens and stuff from the planet and the clouds and that in the atmosphere. And the Death Star's kind of coming up from behind it in its orbit, so you can sort of see like clips of the Death Star circle, or whatever you want to call it. if you look at it, you can almost see the blue haze of the atmosphere that you're looking at the Death Star through.
Yeah.
So it's well thought out technically.
Spectacular. And I think we said this before. And I mean, to some, it was the same with The Force Awakens. We're definitely seeing craft that we're familiar with, but just from really interesting angles or different perspectives, which, you know, it keeps it fresh, keeps it interesting.
It's going to give it a slightly different feeling.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cheers, that's my daughter's contribution to this episode in the background there.
I really like it when Krennic is talking to Darth Vader.
Yeah.
And his emphasis on the word power. You know, and
Krennic seems quite a confident character, doesn't he?
He does, yeah. And you know, to address Darth Vader like he does, he's obviously had some kind of ongoing relationship with him, because we know that those guys in those positions don't last that long if they mess up, do they? So
no, they soon end up getting choked. Apology accepted, Captain Nida.
Exactly.
Well, Krennic's obviously senior enough to be away from that, a bit like Tarkin was.
Yeah.
You got the feeling with the character of Wilf Tarkin. In the original film, that to a degree he was holding Vader's lead, you know, that there was a parity between them, but he was slightly the senior, and this feels kind of the same.
It does, and I wrote here in my notes, like, obviously we don't get James Earl Jones's voice at all in this, do we? Darth Vader doesn't say much, but I was immediately thinking, is Darth Vader convinced entirely about this project? Because, as we know in A New Hope, you know, he's
technological terror you've constructed, yeah.
Yeah, so, you know, is Krennic just selling this and, you know, trying his hardest to make Vader convinced that it's a good idea?
I don't know. I think it's probably fair to assume that Krennic doesn't survive this.
Yeah.
Because he doesn't come back as the guy in A New Hope, does he?
No, and we do see the back of Governor Tarkin in the trailer.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's obviously supposed to be Peter Cushing. He's going to be entirely created in CG, so...
Yeah.
I remember we read about the problems with the legs. They said that, didn't they? They couldn't get the legs or the height right, apparently.
No.
So it'd be interesting to see what he will turn out like.
Krennic, to me, seems that he's a more interesting character. Mm-hmm. I mean, obviously, it's been a long time in history that he took Jin's father away, and there's going to be a bit of backstory and what have you between them. And we see that sort of nighttime scene where Krennic's facing him, and he's in looks like a convict's overall or uniform or something like that. Is the guy being picked out from a working party to go on to the Death Star project, or I don't know. I get the feeling that the two of them, they're going to have a sort of nemesis thing perhaps throughout the film. Somehow this guy gets a transmission out, doesn't he?
Yeah.
So, and that's possibly why the Rebel Alliance comes to seek out the character of Jyn Erso.
And there's a scene with Galen Erso on the floor, kind of looking up. Do you think that's after they've realised that he's transmitted something to somewhere, and they're trying to interrogate him to find out, you know, what he's done?
I don't know.
Because it's definitely later, because, you know, he's got more stubble, he looks a bit older, and, you know... And it's interesting, because you see Darth Vader, but it clearly isn't Darth Vader who's put him on the floor, it's probably Krennic.
Right.
You know, because if you look at the robes of the person standing there, it isn't Darth Vader, but you're led to believe that by the quick flash of the scene. So, yeah.
Yeah, Krennic is another one who's a fascinating character. I mean, I think we're all keen to see how that pans out.
Great actor, Ben Mendelsohn. I mean,
yeah.
Starred Up is a really good film, so, you know, and he plays a sort of sympathetic father in that, and whose son's just been put in prison.
Right.
And his son's learning the ropes, you know, trying not to get beaten up, trying to look tough enough to not get beaten, you know. And his father tries to give him some advice, but really good British film, so I've got big hopes for his character. And, you know, from just the clips we've seen, he seems to have nailed the part of this kind of high-ranking officer. So.
Yeah, he's another interesting character. I think him and Baze are who I'm looking forward to more than the rest of the main cast, to be honest. Yeah. I think Baze, like I said in Chirrut, there's going to be a sense of humour and a camaraderie and sort of mates that are opposite type dynamic to them, and I think that's going to play out really well in the film.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, I do think they've tried to set a slightly lighter tone with this, like we've seen Smiles on the fact. I mean, obviously Baze is like, you know, how many? Once he says we're going to fight, he's just happy he's going to have a scrap.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get the idea. He's not the guy you want to knock his drink over in the pub.
No, that's true. I don't know. We read a lot about reshoots, bits and pieces going on, adding a bit more humour to this, you know, and as far as we can see and what you can tell from the trailer...
Alterations of the composer and the score.
Exactly, but from the trailer, it looks unscathed at the moment, doesn't it? I mean, we'll probably only get to know that on repeated viewing.
Yeah.
You know, after we see it at the cinema, we'll probably be blown away. A couple of times on DVD, maybe we'll see a few little, you know, sort of instances where you think, actually, you know, that's been redone or, you know, reshot.
That depends on how well it's done, because we've not seen too much of the film. So you might not, I don't know, you need to get those little moments that you can pick that feel slightly like they don't fit, don't you?
Yeah,
that's
when
right. You know that a reshoot has gone in there.
Yeah, the editing, just at like 1 second, and you can sometimes work it out.
And like you say, sometimes you need multiple viewings to get those subtleties.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it probably, this trailer does look, the feel of it is a bit lighter to the previous one. There's, even the score isn't that slow, solemn, individual, slowly played piano notes of the original sort of Imperial themes and stuff. This is a bit more hopeful, a bit more optimistic, isn't it? Don't you think?
Yeah, it is, and that's how they want to sell it, I think, isn't it? They want it to be like a fun sci-fi Christmas movie that people are going to see. The modern Great Escape. So.
It's Band of Brothers. There's slightly more character to this. It's more of a looking at the people involved type feel to this trailer, I think.
And I mean, something you've got to credit sort of Lucasfilm with casting. They're always looking for sort of good actors that are probably just under the radar of your average cinema goer.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, we've got favourites like Alan Tudyk, who, you know, Mads Mikkelsen, who are both great on TV, starred in a number of films. You know, Forrest Whitaker, you know, he's a great actor, you know, historically. But then you got like Diego Luna, Donnie Yen, people like that from overseas that many people don't know. Felicity Jones, you know, she's a bit classically trained British actress, dropped into this sort of, I don't know, adventure action role, you know. So I think you've got to credit the cast, and it's a fine sort of ensemble so far. So
yeah, certainly looks like a good little cast. Quite how it works out, I guess we'll find out on the 16th.
Yep,
16th of December.
I've been retweeted and replied to by Cambridge Arts Picture House asking if we're going to go back again and do a Midnight Madness. You know, hopefully we'll bump into some more Star Trek Next Generation fans.
Oh, a Trekkie.
Yeah.
Johnny Fentiger, whatever his name was.
Yeah, so hopefully, I mean, that for the Force Awakens, the atmosphere was amazing, wasn't it? It was a really good night. So.
Yeah, but while I was just too tired to perceive it, I'd had enough that night. By the time I got there, I'd had enough. Not just by the time I was coming out and trying to feel the moment. But yeah, no, I'll go into this one a bit fresher.
You get Dave in the big city and it's all too much. The bright lights of Cambridge.
Yeah, it's not an environment I was comfortable with. I'm surprised I survived Peterborough the other week.
Yeah, it's true. Well, it was a bit more rural where we were out on the industrial estates.
I think it was a bit eerie myself. But, yeah, it's nice. It's good, like you said, like the Hammerhead frigate from.
Yeah, I'm sure you'll have a look for that, mate. I'm sure you'll find it.
As soon as you said it, I was familiar with what ship you're talking about.
Yeah.
It's certainly in the first two games. I haven't played the MMO third game, to be honest with you. I'm not too interested in that. Trouble is with massive multiplayer online games, you go on there and you get people that cheat, or you go on there and a lot of the people that be playing will be in the Americas and they'll still be playing at 2 or 3 in the morning for you, so you can't really get too obsessed with these things, can you? I do like the first two games though. I've got the first two games, they're great games. So, but yeah, I mean, I like the idea that it's these guys that are now working on the films that probably have these games themselves on the shelf and they're old favourites, and they're throwing these things in there like these little Easter eggs for us to enjoy.
Exactly. I can remember down from Stanton playing like the coin-op Return of the Jedi when you're on speeder bikes and stuff like that through the forests of Endor. And yeah, as you say, the people that developed these games or played these games, you know, now are well involved with LucasArts. You know?
Yeah.
So and they're behind ILM and things like that. So
yeah. I haven't really got much more on it, mate.
No, well, we're sort of waiting in anticipation. I'm sure both of us will go and have a look at the trailer a couple more times and see if there's anything else we haven't, seen.
In terms of ships, we've not seen much of this TIE Striker yet.
No.
The Empire's Atmosphere Fighter. Have we even seen it at all?
No, I don't think it's featured, has it? Obviously, Krennic's shuttle. We saw that at the Star Wars Celebration, and that's appeared a couple of times, hasn't it?
Yeah, that's appeared a couple of times. The U-Wing we've seen quite a few times, haven't we, from various perspectives?
We have, but I don't know if we've actually seen it flying, have we? I think we've seen them boarding it, getting on and in the cockpit. We saw the gunner, on the side, didn't we? But I don't know if we've actually seen it taking off and landing or flying through the sky.
Have you heard of a Swedish actor called Fairs?
No.
So good they named him twice. I've got a note here. Alistair Petrie, Eunice Olamide, and Warwick Davis have been cast in unspecified roles.
I think Warwick Davis is this gunner, this CG character.
There's a bit of dispute about that.
Okay.
It's not Bistan, is it?
Yeah, that's it, yeah.
Yeah. Nick Kellington appears as Bistan, an alien creature and member of the Rebel Alliance nicknamed Space Monkey.
Oh, right.
So is Warwick Davis perhaps somebody else? Have been cast in unspecified roles. Going back to what I was saying before, several Scandinavian newspapers are reporting that Swedish actor Fares, which is Fares, twice, a bit like New York, so good they named this person twice, has been cast in an unnamed role. So who's Fares?
I don't know. I mean, do you remember the chap that we met at the Field of Force Day? The guy who was in Guardians of the Galaxy, Captain America. I haven't got his name down. But he also had a character, didn't he? Was he in Rogue One as well?
Possibly.
Yeah, so, I don't know. Alistair Petrillo, he sounds a dish.
Oh, God's sake.
But Fares.
All's fair is fair in podcasting.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's pretty cool. I mean, I haven't got much more, to be honest.
No, that's all the notes I've got. I think I've exhausted the facts, but certainly there'll be more to come.
On Rogue One,
yeah. And I know you guys have probably spotted things that we haven't. And as Dave's rightly said at the beginning of the show, please get in touch. Please let us know your thoughts by email, Twitter, Facebook. You can comment on our YouTube videos. I mean, we've got a fantastic collection on YouTube now, and I was very proud looking at it the other day, just looking at all the Dave's artwork, looking down at various episodes, and it is a nice little library there now. So even if you're new to Hot Wampa, please go back, look at, even if you go back for your favourite film and you think, well, I really like RoboCop, let's see what these guys have to say about it, please do.
I think at some point we need to publish a document or a list of everything we've showcased so people have got it and they can go back and oh yeah, I shouldn't mind having listened to them guys talking about that, and then they can pick that particular one out of our back catalogue.
That's certainly something. I used to listen to a podcast called Film Sack, which is an American one, and it was certain. They looked at cult films, not just sci-fi, but all kinds of films.
Yeah.
And some like Flash Gordon I would like to listen to, but maybe I don't know, Clear and Present Danger I didn't. So I'll just cherry pick the ones that I really wanted to listen to. So yeah, you're welcome to do that. And if you have any suggestions, as always, please get in contact with us, and we'll make sure we get them into future shows.
Yeah, I think we need to have a more of an open round table post the film. We'll have a discussion episode when we follow that up, and we'll get as many people in as we can.
Yeah.
So don't just sit there listening to this thinking that's as far as it goes. You're going to be on the show. I've had enough of it now.
We probably will kidnap people.
Yeah, chasing people up for feedback. It's not on. This is going to be like Rogue One. You're going to be sitting in your room and we're going to come through the door and ask who you are and tell you to come with us.
The Rebel Alliance needs you.
Yeah, it's surprising how simple it is. It really is a case of Skype and a headset.
Yeah.
And you can be on the podcast. And it's pretty good quality. So I think we need to chase people up for that now.
Well, something I would like to do. I mean, Dean Shepherd, who's a regular listener, he has his own Facebook page, Music Ely.
Okay.
Yeah, so he's big into sort of his 80s, 90s, modern rock and decent. He's got a good taste in music, but perhaps we could do like our top 10 sort of sci-fi soundtracks or something like that, and get him involved. Yeah, because he's quite knowledgeable about music, and I think that'd be a nice one, because we've all got our favourites from not only the Star Wars films, but Hans Zimmer from like Inception or Interstellar or things like that. So
Bear McCreary from the Battlestar.
Exactly, yeah. So
Caprica,
maybe we could do a top 10
Eureka, and he's done quite a few scores. Yeah.
Yeah, and compile them with our viewers' favourites and our listeners' favourites, and then
it's okay as long as it's not just over dominated by John Williams.
Yeah, well, John Williams is going to be
so
up there.
much, isn't he?
Yeah.
Such a back catalogue, that guy. But yeah, I mean, there are other ones. Jerry Goldsmith.
Alan Silvestri.
Alan Silvestri, yeah. Think of the Predator movies.
Yeah.
Great score there, isn't it?
Even Back to the Future.
Was that? That's not Alan Silvestri.
It is, yeah.
Is it?
Yeah.
I don't like Alan Silvestri quite so much now.
He's gone down in his estimation.
That would have been a great soundtrack to walk through Peterborough the other week.
Yeah.
We were finding skewered pigeons and stuff lying around on the floor.
Yeah, we run into a lawnmower man and someone with a chainsaw. It's quite
The
scary.
conventional cats seem to enjoy their shout out.
Yeah.
Did you see that on YouTube?
Yeah, I did, yeah.
They got back to us.
Yeah, nice.
And Lindsay as well. She seemed to enjoy getting the shout out. So, yeah, that was great to involve them, wasn't it?
Yeah, so, and that is what we do. We like to get people out there, putting the feelers out.
Yeah, but we're going to round people up after the film, and I think we need a big group discussion after the film.
Yeah, certainly.
Yeah, I mean we'll put people's voices out there, I think. So yeah, if you're listening now and you're a regular, don't think you're getting away from your obligations towards the podcast. You're going to be on this podcast if we have to drag you onto this podcast.
Well, we've got a Postman Pat van outside that we could drive round and smuggle people in.
We've got some great local news. I can't wait to get back to a normal episode.
Yeah, I've got a few stories as well. So
tractors and clowning around, and God, we've got some topics we've got to work through, haven't we?
Yeah, we have. So you'll be listening to that in the near future. But we've got, we've got to decide the next showcase, I think, Dave, haven't we? But apart from that, there is some great local news about.
Yeah. Okay. Well, let's close down then. We're coming up to 53 minutes. This is as good as now with added audio, isn't it?
Yeah.
And I've got a headache. I've got this sinus cold thing that's going round.
Really?
Yeah, I don't know what it is. The missus brought it home, the bloody Andromeda strain or whatever it is. She's gone and brought back, and it's real nasty. So
it's like a Westworld virus.
Yeah, possibly. So we'll close this down, and I'm going to go out and get some paracetamol. I think
okay.
It's thumping.
No problem. Well, let's hope Dave gets better for the next episode.
Oh yeah, we'll be back.
Thanks very much for listening, and I hope you're as excited as we are about Rogue One.
Yeah, I'm more optimistic with this trailer. Yeah. And it looks good, doesn't it? I mean, we've had these reports recently about a change of composer, changing with the writing staff. Oh, this is late in the day. Are we in trouble here? But looking at it, I'm quite reassured.
Yeah.
I'm thinking more about the characters and getting into the film as opposed to thinking about potential problems, which is a healthy place to be in, isn't it?
It is, yeah. It's full of optimism, and we've only got, 2 months to go?
Yeah, great stuff.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we'll look forward to that. And getting back more on Rogue One. Obviously, I think we're going to get more trailers.
At least TV spots and an international.
Yeah. But I don't know whether what to call this episode. I don't know whether this is the final trailer, the second trailer, the third trailer. What should we call it?
I just think it's a trailer.
Latest trailer.
The latest trailer, yeah.
Because whatever we call it, someone's going to dispute, aren't they?
Yeah.
Or they say, no, it's officially this, or maybe everyone's calling it. I don't know. It's just a special.
We'll take it from the StarWars.com and see what they say.
Well, they're saying official trailer 2.
Okay, let's say that.
Okay, we're going with what Star Wars Lucasfilm say, so whatever you call this, we're calling this the official trailer 2 special.
Yeah.
Right, and you just have to deal with it and argue with it. Don't come back and tell me to say, no, this is Dirge's special. You're wrong. Well, probably, yeah. Okay, we'll see you probably a week or whatever's time. When do you want to record again?
Yeah, probably next weekend, because the weekend after I go away to the Netherlands. So
that would be sort of more of a time.
Halloween.
We've kind of rammed this one in, haven't we?
Yeah.
So, yeah, we'll do that one. Okay, more of a Halloween themed special then.
Yeah, that'd be good. Something a bit more scary, maybe.
Horror and sci-fi?
Yeah, something like that, yeah.
We got something we haven't covered in those veins. I mean, we've done, obviously, Alien and stuff like that.
Last year was probably The Thing, wasn't it, around this time? So
The Thing, yeah.
We need something similar to that. So
perhaps an Event Horizon or something like that.
Yeah, Event Horizon is quite disturbing, isn't it?
So, yeah, something horrific and shocking.
Yeah.
Okay. Back to the Future.
That's horrific and shocking for you, I know that
is
much.
for me, yeah. I hold a cross up to that film, mate.
And Alan Silvestri now, the poor bugger.
I know, that's totally jaded. I love that. I loved his score in The Predators and stuff, and now you've said that, that's kind of, do you know what I mean? That's like finding the woman you've always loved was cheating on you or something like that, finding that out.
Well, it's a shame because, I mean, I do like the Back to the Future sort of theme march.
Yeah, alright, Ever. Okay, if we're talking Back to the Future, it's time to go. We'll see you in a week's time.
Bye-bye.
Jin, whatever I do it to protect you. So you understand?
I understand.
You want to get out of here?
Our rebellion is all that remains to push back the Empire. We think you might be able to help us.
When was the last time you were in contact with your father?
What is this?
It appears he is critical to the development of a super weapon.
If my father built this thing, we need to find him.
All right. How many do I need?
They are requesting a call sign.
It's, Rogue. Rogue One.
The power that we are dealing with here is immeasurable.
If the Empire has this kind of power, what chance do we have?
We have hope. Rebellions are built on hope. They've no idea we're coming.
Take hold of this moment. The force is strong. Make 10 men feel like 100.
We'll take the next chance. And the next. You're all rebels, aren't you?